So we will start subsidiary books continuation lecture. We're going to talk about the purchase book and the sales book. So, like we said, subsidiary books are a part of the books of original entry, all right? So, a transaction which is incurred for the first time in the business is recorded in the subsidiary books. Purchase book, by and large, and sales book, they deal only with credit transactions. Credit transactions means when goods have been purchased or sold and money has not been received or paid immediately. It is going to be paid in the near future. So, if goods are purchased either for cash or sold in cash, then those will be recorded in the cash book. Credit means that it is the opposite entry of this transaction is going to be a personal account always, because you are either buying or selling to a person. The entry becomes very simple. Now, in case of a purchase book, it is also called the bought day book, right? So the format of the purchase book is given here. You can see that it starts with date, name of the supplier, inward invoice number, ledger folio, and amount. So there is this inward invoice number. So in the cash book, it was like the receipt number, right? So by and large, when goods are received inside the business, so the storekeeper or the warehouse keeper, which is a person who's responsible for the safety of the goods, right? So he has the lock and key of the place where the goods are stored. Now, what I'm talking here is logically how it is supposed to be. A small business may not always follow all these steps, but the moment the business is a little larger, then these controls are always put in place. So there is, like I said, a warehouse manager, a storekeeper, right? So when he receives goods, when they have been purchased, he will issue a inward invoice. Okay. He receives an inward invoice and he will record that. So that invoice number is what is mentioned here. The invoice is sent by the supplier along with the goods, right? So it's simple: date, name of the supplier, invoice number, ledger folio will be blank, and the amount. Ledger folio will be filled in later on once the postings are done to the ledgers. So there's nothing much in theory to talk about. Sales book, the format is exactly the same: date and then the name of the supplier. Instead of supplier, you will have, the purchaser, uh, right, or the customer, right, and outward invoice number. And this invoice is generated within our organization, ledger folio and amount. Okay. So in this, when you're asked the questions, it is very, very simple. Purchased goods from Kamal, 1000 on credit. Purchase goods from Sakshi for cash. So the moment you see this, purchase goods from Sakshi for cash, you know that this entry will not come in the purchase book. Why? Because these goods have not been purchased on credit. They have been purchased for cash. This entry will come in the cash book and not in the purchase book. Purchase machinery from Machine Tools Company on credit 5,000. Again, here, when we are talking about the purchase book will record only transactions of purchases of goods. Goods for a business means the goods that the particular company is dealing in, not anything which has been purchased. So when the company is dealing in certain goods, it is only those goods which will come in your purchase register. Here, what is being purchased is machinery. Machine purchase will not come in the purchase book. This is what you need to know clearly, that when we have the purchase and the sales book, they are nothing but goods. Goods and machine is not good. So again, these entries of 4th and 5th of April will not appear in the purchase book. 8 is purchased goods from Saurabh on credit, 2000, invoice number 10. Then 10th is purchased goods from Aishwarya. So these three entries will appear, and it is fairly easy. You can see the invoice number has been put in this column, amount here, and the date, and then the name of the supplier. So these three, and then this totals up to 8,000. This is called casting, at the end of the month or at the end of the page, you will write down the aggregate, the total amount. Writing that amount down is called casting. Okay, note. So here are the notes, what we already spoke. I'm not going to read it word to word from the textbook, but we already explained the concept to you. So yeah, but what really is mentioned here is this purchase is recorded in the journal proper as it is a credit purchase for machinery. So every transaction has to be recorded. It's not about if you're making a purchase book, okay, you didn't record it. But if you are the accountant in a real office, you cannot not record. You should know where to record the transaction, because the moment there is a business transaction, the business transaction needs to be recorded somewhere in the books of accounts. So when you have an exam and you are having a question on purchase book, okay, you did not record that transaction, those two transactions, but from a practical world environment, you need to know where to record. Okay, so this, as I said, will be recorded in the cash book, which is goods purchased in cash, and when you're purchasing machinery, whether in cash or in credit, that will be recorded in the journal proper. Okay, so journal proper is for all transactions which are not going to be recorded in any of the subsidiary books. Okay, so we'll go over a second solved example. This is probably going to have some more numerical to play around with, because there is trade discount and maybe cash discount or whatever. We'll see the question. I can already see it. GST will also actually come in. In this example, they doesn't look like they've included GST. So maybe the third solved example will have GST in it. Okay, so purchase from Messrs. Seema Electronics, invoice number so and so, 20 mini size mobiles at the rate 2000 per piece, 12 home theaters at the rate 4,500 per piece at 20% rate discount. Okay, so this looks like a maths problem to me actually. Someone in the 8th standard in maths can solve this, right? But since it's coming in your 12th and 11th standard accounts, let's do the maths and afterwards we'll do the accounts, right? So when you purchased how many pieces? 20 pieces of 2,000 each. So that means that is 40,000 rupees. And this is 12 pieces at 4,500 each. So that is 54,000. So 54,000 plus 40,000 is 94,000. So that is the full price. And on the full price, there is a 20% trade discount. So on 94,000, you will get a trade discount of 18,800. So that will become 75,200. Okay, let's see. There it is, 75,200. Okay, so good. They have given the working here. In my mind, I would not put all this working in the purchase book. You have to go as per the board or the examination board that you are going to appear exams for. This is a textbook for the Maharashtra board. So if you are Maharashtra board, yes, you have to show all this breakup, and then I would have simply said Seema Electronics 75,200 invoice number 2250. There should never be a comma here in invoice number. Okay, invoice number will never have a comma there. A comma is there only when it is an amount. So that's an error in the printing of the textbook. If you have your textbook in front of you, please cancel that comma. Okay. So let's get to the second transaction. Purchase from Pawan Electronics, invoice number so and so, 100 pens, pen drives, okay, at the rate 210 per piece, 10% rate discount. So this is 21,000 is the full price, and from the full price you will subtract 10% rate discount, 2,100, so that will be 18,900. So let's look at it. 18,900, Pawan Electronic, 100 into 210, 21,000 less per piece trade discount. So there you go. Okay. So moving to the next one, purchased from Modern Electronics, invoice number so and so, 15 stereos at the rate 4,200 per piece, and 20 LCDs at the rate 4. So this is maths, right? This example is ditto, same, right? So like I said, they're not only testing your accounting skills, they're also testing your mathematical skills, just basic addition, multiplication, percentages, and subtraction out of that. And that's, like I said, 8th standard maths. It's probably a little boring for a 12th standard student to try to do all that math, but you have to do it if you want your marks. Calculators are not allowed, so bad luck, right? So you do that math, right? 15 into 4,200, 63,000, 20 into 14,000, 280, add up to this 343. Now 12.5% rate discount. You have to do the math, right, in your margin and your rough paper, and that is 3 lakh 125 rupees. Same way, 26 and 29th entries. I'm not going to solve them verbatim. Purchase from C Electronics. Yeah, this looks ditto, same. Bought from Pawan Electronics. Invoice number so and so a piece, right? So all of this is here. If they mention paid in cash, then you will not record it. Like, they're not mentioning anything for most of these, whether they were paid in cash or not, or they were credit. So I have mentioned earlier in the lectures, my assumption is for purchases, when it's not mentioned, they are on credit. If they mention specifically cash, only then it is paid in cash. Okay. So, and here, right, you go, details of calculations can be shown as working notes. So they're anyway saying this. So all these details of calculations, there you go. You need not show it in the purchase register, in the purchase book, right? It is going to just make the purchase book very messy. It's not how the accounts book is supposed to look like. You're supposed to do that on a calculator. Okay. So now this is posting to the ledgers. Like I said in the last lecture on cash book, the sequence we are following is we are first doing the subsidiary books. Afterwards, we will be doing ledger. So this posting part of ledger entries, we will omit right now. After we cover ledger, you will understand how to do the postings. So we jump this over. Now we come to purchase return book. So return books are very, very simple. I've mentioned in the past as well. It is exactly the opposite. So when you have purchased goods and for some reason, either they are defective, or if you had a contract where you were allowed to return goods for any other reason, when you are returning the goods back to the person from whom you purchased them, they will be recorded in the purchase return book. Okay. So the columns over here are date, supplier, debit note number, ledger folio and amount. So just this nomenclature here changes. Debit note number. Debit note means that you are supposed to debit the account of this supplier. So you make a debit note. It is like a voucher. So on the debit note, you right here the format is there. Okay, so the entry for a purchase return is debit the receiver, because you're giving the goods to the supplier back again. So debit the supplier name, let us say Amit, and credit goods. And in this case, instead of the word goods, you will write purchase return. So purchase return book, which is where all the entries will appear, and the which essentially means the supplier is being debited. Now, when you go down, this is the format of the debit note, right? Debit note number, date. 2, we hereby inform you that we have debited your account with rupees so and so for the goods returned by us as under. So why are you debiting the account? Because you have returned the goods. Which goods? The ones which are mentioned below here. Okay, so that is the debit note format. You need to have an understanding of this overall format. I doubt if you will ever be asked a question on making the format in your exam, especially now when exams are online, it's not possible anyway. Now, from the following, prepare purchase return book. 20th August, return goods to Seema Electronic is as follows. 2 mini TV sets, 2000 each. Home theater, 4,500 each, returned against debit note number 4 2008. So, 4 2008, Seema Electronics, date, you add these two, 4,000 rupees here, and this 4.5, 8,500. So, this is 8,500. We will skip the posting part of how it's posted in the ledger. Sales book, this is exactly the opposite of purchase book. The format looks exactly the same, like I said, except that inward invoice number will be replaced with outward invoice number, right? So date, customer name, outward invoice number, ledger folio, and number. Same columns. The way the examples will go is the same. If it is a cash sale, you will not record it. If it is the sale of things which are other than goods, say some furniture is sold because it became old or whatever, or a car is sold which was used in the business, those will not be recorded here. They will be recorded separately. So now sold goods on credit to Arun, invoice number 112, rupees 5,000. Purchased goods for cash from Arun. So, this is to be ignored. You're not going to do anything with this transaction. Invoiced goods to Noha credit. So invoiced goods to Noha this means you actually sold goods to Noha. Okay, I can make out by reading this with my knowledge of accounts. When you're saying the words invoiced goods, that means you made an invoice and you sent that invoice to Noha, invoiced goods to Noha on credit. So when you are invoicing means you are selling the goods. When that is outward invoice, okay. Inward invoice is somebody else invoiced it to you, right? When you invoice means it's sales. If they say received invoiced goods, it means you are purchasing. Okay, simply invoiced goods means you are selling. So these things you need to know. Okay, then goods sold to Brunal on credit. So that is again an example of sales on credit, and sold old furniture. So there you go. So this entry of 12th will not be posted in the sales book. This is going to be put in the journal proper. And purchased goods for cash, this will go in the cash book, and it is a purchase and it is not a sale. So these other three entries have come here. You can see the format, date, name of the customer, outward invoice number, and amount. So all of this has to be filled in to get your marks. Illustration 2, very simple, right? Very similar to your purchase examples from the textbook, right? 5 water purifiers at the rate 2,000 each and 5 buckets at the rate 170 each were sold to Ram traders. So 5 to the 10,000 and 5 into this is 850. So 10,850. So this is simple. 3 roadside containers, 4,000 each. So 12,000 to Newton Enterprises. So 12,000 Newton Enterprises outward invoice number. So they've just muffled up the columns. Okay, your date and outward invoice number, then name of the customer, then ledger folio. If you see on top, they have put it like this. So it doesn't matter from a practical point of view what format you use, but even your official textbook is giving you 2 separate formats. So as a student, you could get confused which one is right. I would just go with this format, uh, date, then particulars, and then these 2 columns and then amount. Okay, this is what I would prefer from an academic point of view to use this format. Okay. But it doesn't matter. Your knowledge of accounts doesn't change if you put these columns in a different sequence. Okay. So now posting into ledgers, we are going to omit that. And then finally, sales return book. So sales return is again where the goods have been returned. Also remember whether it was purchase return or sales return. Remember that these goods are being returned and no money is being exchanged. Okay, that is paramount to understand, because the moment money is exchanged, that transaction will be recorded in the cash book. That transaction will not be recorded in the purchase, sales, or the purchase return or the sales return book. Okay, these are essentially credit transactions, which means that when sales returns means a customer came and he gave us the goods. He did not say give me money back. He simply gave us the goods, and in the books of accounts we will adjust whatever is the money payable by that client. Okay, so when goods are sold on credit are not according to specification, sample, or they are damaged in transit, the buyer or the debtor can return them to the seller. Okay, so now you need to start getting used to some of these terms. Okay, when you sell some goods to somebody, he is called on credit. That person becomes your debtor. Okay, he is the debtor of the business. Sundry debtors is what we call. And when you purchase goods from somebody, then that person is your creditor, and that is the creditor and the debtor. You need to know these terms. Okay, a debtor is a person to whom I have sold goods on credit. I need to go and collect money from him. Okay. On the other hand, when I purchase goods from somebody without giving money, that is on credit, that means that person is my creditor and I need to pay him money in the future. Okay. So that is important terms, technical terms, which will always be required to be known by you right until the end of your accounts, career. So debtor, creditor, never get confused. You got to figure out and you got to remember. Simple thing, debtor is the person to whom I sold goods. Okay, once you sold goods to somebody, it means that you need to take money from that person. Okay, so now credit note, like in case of purchase returns, there was a debit note. In case of sales return, there will be a credit note. It is a statement containing the details of the goods return, quantity, rate, etc. Okay, so format is similar, just that instead of purchase, it is sales. Format of credit note. Credit. Why is it a credit note and not a debit note? Because when you are the giver, the person who's the giver, somebody came and gave you goods. So that person is the giver. Goods came into your business. So that is going to be debited. So the person's account has to be credited, and that is why it is called a credit note. Okay. So this is the format. We hereby inform you that we have credited your account with rupees so and so for the goods returned by us, no, for the goods returned to us as under. If you have your textbook, please, over here, instead of by us, you need to use the word to us. Okay, this is, we are making the books of Vijay Trading. So we have received the goods from the name of the person who's mentioned here. So this will be to us, not by us. Please change it in your textbook if you have your textbook in front of you. Format of sales return book, very simple: date, name of the customer, credit note, number, ledger. And then there is one solved example. Okay, 20th May, goods returned by Rama Traders 2100. So Rama Traders credit note number, they have okay, the credit note number is, looks like a date, but this is the number. You will use this number over here, 2100, and ignore this ledger piece. That is not what we've learned so far. Okay, now here, as I said, GST is important. So this solved example has got GST in it as well. So the accounting entry doesn't change much because of GST. The columns have got added. If you look at the format of this book, okay, the math will become a little more complicated. And if they give you trade discount and GST in the same example, it becomes that much more mathematically complicated. But accounts wise, it is really the same. So we'll do this example: purchase from Rama Delhi, invoice number 780, 30 TVs at the rate of 10,000. So that is 3 lakhs, and 4 home theaters at the rate 12,500. So that is 50,000. So 3 lakh 50,000 at 10% trade discount. So 35,000 discount on 3 lakh 50,000. So that is 3 lakh and 15,000 is the net amount. So 35,000, 3 lakh 15,000. Okay. And now what are they saying? So GST. Where did they mention? I did not read. Prepare the purchase book and purchase return book from the following transactions with GST in Maharashtra. So they're not mentioning the rate of GST over here. When the rate of GST has not been mentioned, you will assume it to be the standard rate. The standard rate is 18%. Okay, and half of it is central GST and half of it is state GST, right? So you will calculate your 9% and put that amount for both, or you can calculate 18% and put half of. Okay, so this is three, and the GST is always calculated on the amount after trade discount. GST is always calculated on the amount after trade discount. Okay, so GST is not to be calculated on 3,50,000. GST is to be calculated on 3,15,315,000. Okay, so 18% is 56,700. Okay, so here they're putting the total 3,71,000. How is this broken up? This is broken up as 3,15,000 and 56,700. Why are they not splitting it up? There is nothing in the question which indicates why is this not being split up. But this only looks like, because this has been purchased from Rama Delhi. Okay, so this has not been purchased within the state of Maharashtra. The person from whom you have purchased is not from the same state. Okay, so that is why this has been recorded in IGST. Okay, uh, so this will get credited to IGST. I think it is not very appropriate to expose 12th standard, 11th standard students to this whole concept of CGST, SGST, and IGST, but it's in your syllabus. So when you're purchasing goods and the person who's supplying these goods to you is not from the same state, you will record the whole amount in IGST. Okay. Now, the second example also, right? Five LCDs, five washing machines at 10,000. So 50,000, five LCDs, 25,000 each, 1,25,000, 1,75,000. Trade discount is 5%. So 8,750. So this is 1,66,000, 18% GST, IGST has been recorded here. And the total is so and so. The purchase amount will always still be the same, 166. That is this, and the IGST is here. Okay. So purchase book. What is this? That's the third purchase from Rama Delhi. Again, there's a third purchase. 10 TVs at 10,000, so 30,000, 27,000, 18% GST, 4,800, 31,860 is the total, out of which 27,000 is the purchase amount and 4,860 is the IGST. So IGST is your input GST, okay, which you will claim as a credit later on when you are filing your GST return, not for your syllabus at this stage. Next example along with GST, and in this they will split it up. Prepare sales book and sales return book of Messr Saurabh of Maharashtra from the following transactions with GST. Sold to Mehul Brothers, Delhi. Okay. Now, Delhi is not in Maharashtra. Returned 5 shirts. So you have to prepare sales book as well as sales return. So we'll take the first example. You sold to Messrs. Mehul Brothers 30 shirts at 250, so that's 7,500, and 40 pants at 350, so that is 14,000. 14,000. Okay, so 14,000 plus 7,500 is 21,500 minus trade discount 8%, 1,720, so 19,780, and IGST is 5%. So why is it 5%? Because it must have been mentioned in the question paper. Okay, let's take a look. Rate of GST applicable on above ready-mades goods: CGST, SGST, IGST. So it is 5% and not 18%. So like as in the previous example also, they have given it to be 18% rate of GST. This is actually this 18 transaction should have been completed, and this rate is applicable for all the three examples over here. Give me a moment. Okay. So this is 5% IGST. So here you go 989, same thing. So you will record your 19,780 in the sales column and 989 in the IGST column. The next is 20 jackets at 450, 10 shirts at 200. So amounts 11,000, 8% trade discount and 5%. Now here they are recording. Yeah, so this is within Maharashtra. This is within the state sale. Okay. So when you have sold the goods within the same state as your business entity, then you will record CGST and SGST. Okay. So here, this is Jalna. Now they are expecting you to also know geography, right? So you need to know maths and you need to know geography. But your test is of accounts, and the subject we are learning is accounts. I don't like this as a question. Whoever has said this question needs to mention same state and not same state. Because if I don't know my geography well and I don't know Jalna is in the state of Maharashtra, I will record everything in IGST, which will make it incorrect. But since Jalna is in the same state, you will record CGST and IGST and not, sorry, CGST and SGST. You will not record IGST. Okay, it is one of the two which is applicable. Either I is, I think it is called international GST. What it means is outside the state, outside the geographical region in which you operate, and every state is a separate jurisdiction. Actually, it's not geography, but just jurisdiction. Okay, so this 253, 99% will be recorded in these two columns. Sales return, IGST, it will go in because that was Delhi. Okay, not the same state. So you have Mehul Brothers, 5 shirts 250, 1250 trade discount. So 1150 and 58. So that's the second solved example. Now we have record the following transactions in Messrs Kirti in purchase book, sales book, purchase return, and sales return. So you see, you have to record all the 4 books over here, and you can't say that this is not a purchase entry. You have to. So sold goods to Sudhakar stores, 10% rate discount. So 39,000 minus 3,900, right? So that will be 35,100. This will get recorded in the sales register. Purchase goods, so purchase register, uh, and you paid carriage also 250. So carriage is all part of purchase cost. Okay. So let's just see how is this recorded. It's an important thing to look at, but it will not affect the person from whom you Avdut. So if you see Avdut traders 3rd March 47,350 is what is recorded here, because you have to pay Avdut 47,350. This part, which is paid carriage 250, will get recorded in the cash book. Okay, because you are not supposed to pay Avdut this amount. When you are recording a credit transaction in the purchase book, you will record the amount which you have to pay to Avdut on account of the goods that he has sent to you. Okay. The carriage was paid by you in cash to the person who transported the goods from Avdut's factory to your factory. Okay. Next, Sudhakar stores returned goods. So returned goods means somebody returned goods back to us. That means this is the sales returns. So this will get recorded in the sales return book. And they are saying net means this is after adjusting trade discount. Good for us. Our life is simpler. We don't have to do the math. So this will get recorded directly in the sales return book, and the amount will be 3220. Cash purchases 18,000. So, and cash sales. This will not get recorded in your purchase book, in your sales book. This is only meant to confuse you. Do not post this when the question is saying that please prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return. So this is to be ignored. This is going to come in the cash book. Rakesh invoiced goods to us. Rakesh invoiced goods to us as per our order, which means this is purchases. Like I said, when somebody invoices goods to us, it means purchases. So this will come in purchase book, 37,000, and Rakesh's name will come. So if you see down, purchase book, Rakesh, 13th March, 37,000. Okay. Sold goods so and so to Ragini. So 33,400 minus 10%. So you do the math and it will come in the sales book. Okay. Returned goods to Rakesh. So this is purchase returns, which as they were defective. So purchase return 385. So let's just see the amount. I hope they're not expecting. Yeah, there's no more trade discount to be calculated. Credit purchase from Michael Traders so and so, and they allowed a trade discount of rupees so and so. So this is purchase book, Michael Traders, 19,300 after adjusting the trade discount. Ragini returned goods worth 1,900 gross. Now they are writing the word gross. Means you have to calculate trade discount and record the net amount. So on 22nd, Ragini returned goods, means she returned them to us. That means what had we done with Ragini? We had sold goods to her and now she's returning goods to us. So this will come in the sales return book. It will be, Ragini's name will come, amount will not be 1,900, it will be less than 1,900. Now we need to go up and we need to see what is the discount happening in case of Ragini. But if I look up here, there is no transaction with Ragini. So I will probably record 1,900 as the whole amount, but let's see what are they saying. Sales return Ragini 1710. Okay. So let's see. Where is Ragini? Oh, here sold goods to Ragini is there. So 10% trade discount is there. Sorry, we found an entry with Ragini. So correct. Ragini. So 1,900 minus 190. So that is 1,710. Correct. This is the gross amount. And because when we had sold goods to her, we had given her 10% discount. When she returns goods to us, then those are to be adjusted with the same 10% amount. So 1,710 is the amount. Ragini is 10% TD. Different customers, you may give different rate of trade discount. Okay. It need not be that everybody is given 10% trade discount. Someone else, you may give 20% trade discount. So that depends on the business. Okay. Then purchased office furniture on credit from Sharma Furniture. So this will come in the journal. This will not come in the purchase book, right? This is not purchase of goods. Okay, so this will come as a journal entry in the journal proper. Purchase goods from Garima store, 8,000. So purchased, this will come in the purchase book. Very simple. And sold the same to Sunita at the rate 25% profit. So, so 25% of this is 2,000. So on the same day, we will show sales to Sunita at 10,000. Let's just see, sales book will show 10,000. Take a look at that. Sunita, 10,000. There you go on 29. And on the same day in the purchase book from Garima, you purchased at 8,000. Okay. So, and last is 31st. Sent a debit note to Michael Traders 3,200. Now, this is a good question from an accounts point of view. It tests your knowledge. What is the meaning of a debit note? That means that you are debiting somebody's account. When it pertains to purchase and sales, when do you debit? Debit means debit the receiver in case of a personal account. Why is he the receiver? Because he is receiving goods. Okay. And when he's receiving goods, these are returns actually. So the receiver is receiving goods because this is purchase returns. Okay. Purchase return book is where you will record this. Now, this is a very good question on accounts. There is no maths involved. There is no geography involved. It is a purely accounts question. Sent a debit note to Michael Traders. You debited Michael's account. Why? Because you returned goods to him, goods which you had originally purchased from him. If you're a good knowledge of accounts, by reading this, you know it. Now, if you're not good at accounts, you go up in this question and look for what transactions you have been doing with Michael Traders. Okay, so what did you do with Michael Traders? There was, so you see, you purchased goods from Michael Traders. When you purchased goods, what will you do opposite side with him? You will do purchase return with him. So that is another reason why you may think that this is purchase return. Okay, but the better way is you should know debit note means what? Debit note means purchase return. Credit note means what? Credit note means sales return. Okay, so debit note to Michael Traders 3,200 will come in your purchase return book. Michael Traders 3,200. Okay, so these are the books which have been made, and there will be a journal proper in which that furniture entry has been passed. Okay, furniture to Sharma account. That doesn't come in your purchase book, right? It comes here. Debit what comes in, furniture came in. Credit the giver is Sharma. Okay. Working notes. Transaction dated 3rd March will be recorded in the cash book. So if you remember, I said that that will come in the cash, the 150 rupees paid for transport. And transactions dated 10th March, they were both purchase and sales in cash. So they will also appear in the cash book. So that's it. I think there will be more and more solved examples now with the few solved examples that we have already done. You have enough knowledge to be able to read the remaining solved examples on your own and learn them on your own, right? If you have doubts while you try to solve these, you can post your doubts. I will answer them. Okay. So journal proper, we will not do here today in today's class. So that's it for the class on purchase book, sales book, purchase return, and sales return.